Galactus, formerly Galan and known as Devourer of Worlds, is often said to be one of the villains in the MCU and is also the main antagonist of the Fantastic Four franchise, as well as the Silver Surfer franchise. But what no one says is that he sits on the border of being a hero and a villain. I've lost my mind seeing the carnage he causes, yet I shed a tear when I saw his powers weaken due to starvation. That's the true representation of his character. It's difficult to understand his motives and actions, yet creators Stan Lee and Jack Kirby have managed to redeem this mighty character by justifying his existence in the MCU. Galactus is not just about size, he's cerebral too, and I've seen that many times. In the way he chooses his heralds, or does things because only he can see that it's for the greater good. I could go on and on saying he is this and he is that, but that's not enough. You must meditate on this character to understand him. He's immortal, so he's a god, ensuring the cosmic power in the universe is maintained at all costs. He's like the soldier who doesn't mind taking the bullets of hatred, or facing the trolls, as long as he keeps the balance of the universe. He devours worlds like they were candies, yet no one can kill him because if he dies, then the entire Marvel universe will crumble. Can you imagine what's at stake here, and the level of his importance? Yes, he represents both destruction and creation. He's soon going to make a screen appearance, and before that, let's take a tour of how this character feeds and what his world is like. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The Hunger of Galactus. Galactus is known for his insatiable hunger, which is linked to the universe's functioning. He's an omnipotent character who relies on consuming the life energies of a planet, including its atmosphere, minerals, and all organic materials within, which he converts into a form of energy ready for consumption, leaving behind a hollow and empty planet. He repeats this process for every planet, and when he goes on his rampage to seek food. Galactus, in his quest to consume planets for survival, utilizes specialized equipment or machinery that he designs and operates. This equipment enables him to draw out the life energies of a planet and convert them into energy for his use. So it is not just his cosmic powers that allow him to eat up planets, but also his personalized tools. His first tool, called the Elemental Converter, was introduced in 1966's Fantastic Four number 49, which allowed Galactus a more methodical way of draining the life energy of a victim planet. Galactus cannot be stopped by any force of nature, any hero, or any mercy pleas, because he's driven by a purpose that's beyond the understanding of mortals. He knows and has long said that he's here to give more than take from the universe. At some point, it was disclosed in the MCU that Galactus was the only one who had shielded the planets from the spirit of destruction, better known as Abraxas. It may be a paradox, but Galactus who destroys also protects. It's also known that Galactus, in his path of devouring planets, doesn't fully destroy the planets. Instead, he leaves a portion of life energy that's enough to sustain life on the planet, even for the lowest living beings in the food chain. There is another peculiar side to Galactus. He was cursed with a conscience that was so fragile that he could either consume an entire planet or sacrifice himself to save it. Being a humanoid, if Galactus starves himself, he too can meet his end like any other human. A glimpse of him starving is seen in the comic issue number 257, when the mighty Galactus softens after his interaction with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. And if Galactus dies, he must be resurrected because his powers and energy are essential to maintain the balance in the universe.
I herald Galactus.
The Heralds, Planet Seekers, and Gatekeepers. Galactus's optimal functioning and efficient working are also due to his Herald, who precedes him to identify planets that their master can consume. At any given point, Galactus has only one herald in service, who is blessed with a tiny part of Galactus's unlimited cosmic energy called the Power Cosmic. Galactus's first herald was an unknown. In AD 1582, Galactus struck Earth for the first time, along with an unknown herald, by descending on the city of Rome. However, the attack from the Devourer of Planets was warded off by Galileo Galilei, the Brotherhood of the Shield, and the great sculptor Michelangelo, which gave birth to the greater science. Later, When Galactus set out to devour the planet Zenla, Norin Rad, who was a resident of the planet, offered his services to Galactus in exchange for sparing his home planet. Galactus agreed by bestowing Rad with the power cosmic, transforming Norin Rad into a silver-like being who rode a silver surfboard, thereby getting renamed the Silver Surfer. Galactus also had to erase Rad's memories in secrecy so that he could serve Galactus without any prejudices. The Silver Surfer served him for nearly a century and discovered planets for his master, which were rich in energy and life. Silver Surfer worked without any guilt or remorse because he didn't feel a thing anymore until he visited Earth to survey the planet for his master. While on Earth, he met Alicia Masters, who figured the Surfer was noble and courageous. Alicia's true analysis of him moved the Silver Surfer, who, in his quest to rebel against his enslaver, joined hands with the Fantastic Four to stop Galactus from entering Earth. But the Silver Surfer didn't know the powers of his all-knowing master, who didn't spare the Silver Surfer for this treachery and trapped him forever on Earth. Although later Galactus would revoke his decision, the Silver Surfer didn't want to return. The Airwalker, later replaced with an identical android duplicate. The Silver Surfer's replacement was the Nova Centurion Gabriel Lan, who was the intergalactic peacekeeping force Xandarian's captain of an exploration vessel named the Way Opener. Lan was a celebrated war hero, and Galactus tapped on his wanderlust desires to offer him the next Herald's position, which Lan didn't refuse. Why would he? Lan was looking forward to the power he could get and the opportunity to travel around the universe. Galactus consecrated Lan by giving him the power cosmic and transforming him into the Airwalker. The Airwalker not only served Galactus, but also became his friend. Such was his loyalty to Galactus that he gave up his life to save him from an attack by the Ovoid warships. Still, Galactus, who had gone so weak from hunger that he couldn't save Airwalker, later managed to create an android version of him by transferring Airwalker's consciousness into the android. But an android was no match for the original Lan's passion for travel. It wasn't efficient enough, so Galactus, out of desperation, sent Lan's android to Earth to convince the Silver Surfer to return, but he didn't succeed. The android, Airwalker, became badly damaged in a fight with the Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four. That was the last of the Airwalker. Firelord. Pyreus Krill, better known as Firelord, became the next Herald of Galactus after he went looking for Gabriel Lan when Galactus' starship kidnapped him. Krill worked under Lan at the Way Opener and was hell-bent on rescuing his captain. Despite taking years, Krill finally made it into Galactus' ship across the universe. The Devourer of Worlds was taken in by his courage and offered him to be his herald in exchange for information about Lan. When Krill agreed, he was granted the power cosmic, thus becoming the Firelord. Galactus, as promised, revealed the details of Airwalker's death and his subsequent destruction as a robot. Before Krill could even react, Galactus suppressed his memory and erased this part of the information about Lan's death, ensuring Krill serves him as a herald without any resentment. Firelord's service to Galactus was ephemeral, as during his outing on Earth, Firelord met Thor, who freed Firelord from Galactus by offering the Devourer an Asgardian herald, better known as the Destroyer. The Destroyer was powerful, and Galactus turned him into a robotic suit of armor capable of no thoughts by using the power cosmic. Being a mindless herald, the Destroyer was the lowest in sentience compared to the others, and the armor was responsible for this subservience. The Destroyer couldn't serve Galactus for long, since Loki stole him through his many schemes, leaving Galactus looking for a new herald. The Devourer of the Worlds didn't want to waste his time reclaiming the Destroyer. Trax the Tamer. Having experienced treacherous and immoral heralds, Galactus was now on the lookout for a mean, evil, and ambitious herald who would serve him with purpose and results. And that's how Tyros, the tyrant of the city of Lanlac on the planet Burj, became Galactus' new herald. Tyros was a mutated being, and therefore very powerful, but the challenge was that Galactus had to defeat Tyros to strip him of his powers and render him servile. So a deal was struck between Galactus and the Fantastic Four, who sought Galactus' help in defeating the Sphinx. In exchange, Galactus asked the Fantastic Four to sober down Tyros, which they did, and Galactus brought him under his control. Once Tyros fell into Galactus' power zone, he was immediately transformed using the power cosmic, resulting in the birth of Trax the Tamer. Trax's quality as a mutant was his control over stone, which allowed him to destroy mountains and thousands of meteors with ease, thereby setting the stage for Galactus' food. While Trax had all the qualities that Galactus wanted in a herald, Trax had no sense of loyalty. He was overly ambitious, and instead of identifying planets for Galactus's devourment, he conquered these planets for his own needs. He was serving Galactus out of fear, but no longer, as he sought to kill Galactus. And Trax almost succeeded in killing Galactus by starving and depleting his energy. Trax then escaped to Earth and took control of Manhattan, threatening the Fantastic Four, stating that if they didn't kill Galactus, he would destroy the city. As the battle began, Galactus took away the power given to Trax by the Power Cosmic and killed him, a feat he had never committed to any of his heralds. Galactus had gone so weak because the power taken back from Trax wasn't enough to kick Galactus back into action. He was staring at death until Reed Richards came to his help. This was also the time Galactus thought of devouring planet Earth since he was too weak to travel. Nova. When Frankie Ray, stepdaughter of Phineas Horton, came to Galactus asking if she could be his herald, he agreed, after learning that she was doing so despite being in a relationship with Johnny Storm. She yearned to roam and sense the splendid cosmic universe. Galactus found Frankie different from his power-hungry, insolent heralds and took her on after vesting the Power Cosmic on her. She turned into Nova, leaving behind her beloved Johnny Storm and her old life as a human. Very diligently, Nova hunted for food for her master by surveying planets that were rich in resources for Galactus's consumption, such as the Skrull's throne world and Tarnax 4. Sometimes, she used the help of the Silver Surfer, whom she lovingly called Silverado. Their camaraderie led to a romantic liaison that wasn't too stable, but one day, while out on her regular mission, her Silverado tested her dutiful self by making her admit that she would give her Earth to Galactus for consumption. Nova felt cornered with her choices and sensed a sense of repentance, such that she tried to hide a planet she had discovered for Galactus. Annoyed with her behavior, Galactus fired her and took on Morg the Executioner as his new herald. Morg the Executioner. Galactus, while reviewing his past heralds, figured he wanted someone ruthless yet loyal, someone who would do the job and deliver it without pretense or drama, someone who could scout for inhabited planets for Galactus's consumption. He finally found someone matching these qualities while he was devouring an unnamed planet. That person was Morg, who was a heartless, murderous court executioner. Morg was unaffected by the fact that Galactus was consuming his planet and happily agreed to be his new herald. Just like all his other heralds, Morg also received the Power Cosmic and became Morg the Executioner. He went all out to perform his duties as a herald, and his powers increased as he dived into the well of life, becoming Galactus's most powerful herald. Such was Morg's viciousness that it drove Galactus into a rampage, triggering fear among his past heralds about billions of lives being lost. So, all his past heralds, Nova, Silver Surfer, Firelord, Evil Trax, and Airwalker Automaton teamed up to kill Morg, since it was the only way to stop Galactus from consuming the whole universe. In the ensuing battle, they killed Morg, but Nova was slain. The Silver Surfer took Nova's lifeless body to the sun. With Morg gone, Galactus unwillingly accepts Firelord and Airwalker as his herald pair. While in service, Firelord tries his best to recover Gabriel Land from the Airwalker Automaton, but he couldn't. Meanwhile, Galactus stealthily revives Morg back to life because he valued his undying loyalty, but Tyrant, Galactus's kidnapper, kidnaps him. To sustain peace, Galactus allows Tyrant to keep Morg, but Morg escapes and goes to kill the herald pair. In the nick of time, the Silver Surfer saves them. Tyrant later shows up at Galactus's doorstep angrily when Morg attacks him and asks Galactus if he could use the Ultimate Nullifier against Tyrant. But things go wrong. The Ultimate Nullifier nullifies Morg and Galactus instead. Redshift. Galactus escapes to another dimension to survive the Ultimate Nullifier, where he consumes all the power of Hyperstorm, a villain from another timeline. But the consumption of Hyperstorm makes Galactus even more ravenously hungry, driving him mad. The obsession to consume living beings grew within him, but he didn't have a herald. So, in a state of hurry, he made Redshift his new herald. Redshift was an unknown and mysterious herald. No one knew about him. Redshift was preparing to make Earth his master's meal, but the Silver Surfer convinced him against it. But Redshift didn't heed the Surfer's request, resulting in a clash. Despite being sucked into the black hole, the two heralds fought until the Silver Surfer used his cosmic energy and dissolved Redshift's two powerful swords, rendering him weaponless and trapped in the black hole. While the Silver Surfer escaped, Redshift couldn't, since he had lost the sword that could activate a portal to escape. Johnny Storm. After Redshif's fight with the Silver Surfer, a group of aliens whose worlds have been destroyed by Galactus arrived on Earth. They had developed technology to shield planets from Galactus, but they were worried that Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, was the weakest link and could be used to stop them. So the aliens took Manhattan for collateral damage in exchange for Sue Storm. Not willing to hand her over, Mr. Fantastic took the middle path by stripping Sue of her powers, rendering her powerless and therefore not a threat. The aliens leave, but Mr. Fantastic figured that in his bid to protect Sue, he had swapped the powers of Sue and Johnny, which means Sue now has Johnny's ability to be a Human Torch, while Johnny can become invisible. Galactus, the All-Knowing, took advantage of this switch of powers and took Johnny as his new herald by consecrating him with the power cosmic. Johnny, while serving Galactus, did two things. Firstly, he searched for an energy-rich world for Galactus's consumption, and secondly, he spied for the Fantastic Four and Quasar to help them build a device that would render Galactus powerless. They succeed, and Galactus goes back to his original self as Galan, where he goes into exile as a being of energy. Stardust. Galan became Galactus again and came out of his exile and started looking for a new herald. He took yet another mysterious herald called Lambda Zero and gave her the power cosmic, naming her Stardust. Stardust was fierce and showed unimaginable valor in finding new consumable planets for her master. She didn't stop there. She also went looking for survivors and brought them back to Galactus, ensuring that no remnants of the world's population were left behind. During one such mission to wipe out the last of the Corbinite race, Stardust got into a fight with their leader, Beta Ray Bill. During the conflict, Stardust used her powers to open a portal that would suck in Beta Ray Bill and the remainder of the Corbinites, but the action was reversed, releasing an evil demon named Astaroth. To conquer the danger of Astaroth, Stardust and Beta Ray Bill joined forces to fight it. Simultaneously, Galactus, who was looking for Stardust, revives the Corbinite's former leader, Alpha Ray, giving him the task to look for Stardust and Beta Ray Bill. Stardust had by now orchestrated a massive black hole to suck in Astaroth, but Alpha Ray didn't allow it, keeping Astaroth as a formidable combatant. In the process, Alpha Ray and Stardust are absorbed into the black hole, from which Stardust escapes and gets back to Galactus. Annihilation. After Stardust escaped from her self-created black hole to return to Galactus, the universe came under the threat of an insectoid warship led by Annihilus. The Annihilus destroyed everything that came in its way and was termed as the Annihilation Wave. To combat it, cosmic entities and alien forces united but achieved little success. The Annihilation Wave attacked all of Galactus's previous heralds, namely Airwalker, the automaton who, by now, had recovered the identity of Gabriel Lamb. Still, it was killed in the attack by Annihilus. After Airwalker, Firelord allied with Redshift to fight Annihilus, while Galactus instructed Stardust to ally with the Heralds to fight Annihilus. Annihilus took Trax and Morg hostage to learn more about the power cosmic. There was devastation everywhere, so Galactus called the Silver Surfer to lead an attack against them with the help of Firelord, Redshift, and Stardust. During the battle, Stardust and Redshift sacrificed themselves to save Nova, Richard Rider, and his people. If Galactus was some mindless villain, he wouldn't have bothered about whether his heralds lived or died, but he isn't, and this instance in my opinion shows Galactus was a master leader and had a heart. This act was his way of protecting his people, which was the whole universe. Arrival of Galactus. Signs, signals, and cosmic dread. The signals of Galactus's arrival are distinct and memorable, pronouncing the approach of a cosmic-level threat. It includes: heralds signal his coming. Galactus always announces his arrival using his herald. A typical ritual is that the herald first reaches the world to be consumed and surveys the place. The arrival of the herald was enough to announce that Galactus would be coming. Cosmic warnings. Imagine someone saying, "Your planet has been marked for death," and those are the exact words of a herald warning the victim planet that's about to be devoured by Galactus. Remember the bone-chilling warning used in the MCU's Fantastic Four First Steps trailer with the Silver Surfer's proclamation? Cosmic phenomena. If it's not the Herald's warning, then the Watcher, Uatu, sends out signals to Earth about an impending danger about to happen, as shown in the comics. For instance, if one sees the Silver Surfer land atop the Baxter building, then it's a sure sign that Galactus is on his way. Galactus's manifestation. Galactus's size and aura are enough to terrify anyone to death. He's an overwhelming force of massive energy that carries with him nothing but dread. To me, Galactus entering a world for consumption seems like several calamities bundled into one. He's that powerful and horrifying, yet there are sides to him that make you understand why he does what he does. Preparing the planet. Construction of the Elemental Converter. The Elemental Converter is a massive specialized device created and used by Galactus to streamline the process of consuming the life forces of the victim planets. The basic function of the Elemental Converter is to transform all matter on a planet that includes all minerals, atmosphere, and organic things into pure energy ready for consumption by Galactus. By doing so, there's less spillage and wastage of resources, and it avoids the destruction of the planet. What's left behind is a lifeless husk of the world, having all energy sucked away. How does it operate? If you see it in the comics, Galactus either calls for the Elemental Converter from his starship, Ta-2, or just sets one up on the spot using his cosmic powers. The converter is a single object that resembles an engine located at the core of the planet's surface, which is the source of maximum energy. At times, heralds like the Silver Surfer were seen creating holes or placement holders for the converter to be placed. The converter was first introduced in Fantastic Four number 49, 1966, and featured in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. There have also been cases in some adaptations where Galactus is seen using multiple converters or sending them to heralds for placement in different parts of a planet. In video games, such as HeroClix, the Elemental Converter resembles a dial and functions like a healing device. The Devouring Cosmic Energy Absorption. The process of Galactus consuming the life forces of planets ensures his sustenance and power. His massive consumption is also the reason that the power cosmic can exist, which, according to me, functions like a bank where all his energy was stored from, where he doled out small portions of his energy to his heralds. Galactus can also use its power to extract energy from the electromagnetic spectrum, as well as from stars. Yet he prefers to consume the different and unique life forces available on various planets. What I like is that Galactus uses his discretion in determining what he wishes to consume and what not, justifying his knowledge of the balance of the universe. Aftermath, ruins, survivors, and cosmic consequences. When Galactus consumes a planet, the aftermath is not just devastating, but traumatic. Imagine seeing your whole planet reduced to dust, with everything gone. All living beings and non-living entities that are sources of energy, including civilizations, ecosystems, and most importantly, the legacy and culture of a planet. Just gone. Poof. Right inside Galactus, just like that. And if you manage to escape, heralds like Stardust will hunt you down. And if you're brave, you'll end up being a herald yourself. And if you live, it leads to civil wars, as seen when Galactus consumed the Skrull homeworld. It had a profound effect on the people, leading to a mass exodus and migrations that propelled the storylines, such as Secret Invasion. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think Galactus was the villain. It took me a while to understand that he had a consciousness, a side which we get to see at some point in the MCU. The irony of this destruction is that while it restores the balance of the universe, it creates power imbalances among civilizations that go through strife to restore at least some part of their identities. To understand such devastation, one needs profound thinking. In one rare case, Galactus turned into a life giver, which led to the rebirth of planet Archaeopia. The aftermath also leaves greater expanses of land barren, resembling a massive crater on the moon, which is known as the Galactus Obliteration Perimeter. Marvelous verdict. On July 25th, 2025, we'll get to see Galactus on screen as the Fantastic Four First Steps will be released. I have my fingers crossed that Galactus is portrayed well in this movie, since his past outings weren't that great. While on paper, Galactus is a massive character, on screen, most fail to project him as big as he is in the comics. If they don't get it right, Galactus will die a natural death for on-screen portrayals and will remain a memory through comics. It's not easy to show the Devourer of Worlds in his true form, with its massive height and stature. I am curious to see how it turns out, dying to see him on the big screen to get a glimpse of his soft side. How does one forgive, as well as love, this unique character created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby? I wonder. See you at the movies. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, be safe, and thanks everyone.